In the cold, vast expanse of outer space, the starship Peregrine hurtled through the inky void, her engines leaving a trail of shimmering light as she traveled toward the uncharted region known as the Black Horizon. Her crew, a seasoned group of interstellar explorers, eagerly anticipated their arrival at the mysterious boundary. They had heard countless rumors about the area, tales of ghostly phenomena, vanishing spacecraft, and bizarre, unexplained anomalies. Captain Lyra Voss paced the bridge, her eyes glued to the viewport as the distant stars seemed to dance in the darkness. Commander Xander Rourke, her second in command, tapped away at his console, preparing the ship to enter the enigmatic region. "Captain," he said, tension evident in his voice, "we're approaching the Black Horizon. All systems are primed and ready." Captain Voss nodded, her pulse racing. "Thank you, Commander. Proceed with caution." The crew braced themselves as the Peregrine entered the uncharted territory. They expected turbulence, strange cosmic phenomena, or even the sudden appearance of otherworldly entities. But nothing happened, just the silent, eerie darkness that surrounded them. As the hours passed, unease settled over the crew. The ship's sensors detected nothing amiss, but the atmosphere felt heavy, suffocating. Whispers of uneasiness spread through the corridors like a virus, infecting the crew with a palpable sense of dread. The ship's chief engineer, Lieutenant Vega, was the first to report an unsettling occurrence. While running a routine diagnostic, she discovered that the engines were inexplicably losing power. "Captain," she said, her voice barely more than a whisper, "I can't explain it. There's no logical reason for this power drain. It's as if the energy is being siphoned away." The Peregrine continued to venture deeper into the Black Horizon, the darkness around them growing ever more oppressive. Suddenly, a shrill, spine-chilling scream echoed through the ship, sending shivers down the spines of even the most hardened crew members. Captain Voss and Commander Rourke rushed to the source of the sound, only to find Ensign Rice cowering in the corner of the mess hall, his eyes wide with terror. He was babbling incoherently, pointing at the empty air before him. Clearly, he had witnessed something that had shaken him to his core. As the Peregrine's crew struggled to make sense of the disturbing events unfolding around them, a chilling realization began to take hold. They were not alone in the Black Horizon, and whatever else was out there with them, it seemed to have a sinister agenda. The ominous arrival was only the beginning of their harrowing journey into the heart of darkness. The crew of the Peregrine tried to maintain their composure in the face of mounting fear, but the unexplained occurrences continued to escalate. Whispers of unease gave way to audible gasps and panicked murmurs as shadows seemed to flicker in the starlight, just beyond the range of human vision. Captain Voss gathered her crew in the main conference room, determined to address the situation head-on. "We're all feeling it," she said, her voice firm but tinged with concern. "Something is not right here, but we're a team, and we're going to face this together." Dr. Simmons, the ship's chief medical officer, stepped forward. "Captain, I believe the crew's mental state is being affected by this. Whatever it is, I recommend that we implement psychological countermeasures to help mitigate the fear response." Captain Voss agreed, and Dr. Simmons began distributing anti-anxiety medications and implementing mindfulness techniques to help the crew stay grounded. However, these measures did little to quell the ever-growing dread permeating the ship. One by one, crew members began to report strange sightings, shadowy figures that seemed to dart through the corridors, glimpsed only for an instant before vanishing. Some claimed to hear whispers, while others swore they could feel icy fingers brushing against their skin. Lieutenant Vega, who had been working tirelessly to restore the ship's lost power, stumbled upon a terrifying discovery. The ship's security footage revealed that the shadows were not just figments of the crew's collective imagination, but tangible, malevolent entities that seemed to feed on fear. As the Peregrine continued its journey through the Black Horizon, the crew realized they were being hunted by an unknown force. The once pristine ship was now a haunted vessel, filled with lurking shadows and unending terror. Captain Voss, Commander Rourke and the rest of the Peregrine's crew knew that they had to find a way to banish the darkness before it consumed them all. The only question was, how? With each passing day, the tension aboard the Peregrine grew more unbearable. The crew, once a tight-knit group of seasoned explorers, now found themselves isolated and paranoid, each afraid to be alone with their thoughts in the presence of the sinister shadows. Captain Voss and Commander Rourke held a private meeting, desperate to find a way to dispel the darkness that seemed to be tightening its grip on their vessel. They studied the ship's logs, searching for any clue that might help them understand the nature of the sinister force they faced. It was then that they discovered a pattern. Each time the ship passed through a specific type of nebula, the crew's experiences of terror seemed to intensify. These nebulae emitted faint, almost imperceptible whispers that resonated with the ship's communication systems, amplifying the crew's fears. Captain Voss decided to change course, steering the Peregrine away from the whispering nebula in the hopes of escaping their sinister influence. As they altered their trajectory, the crew felt a momentary reprieve from the relentless fear gnawing at their minds. Intrigued by this new information, Dr. Simmons began to investigate the mysterious whispers further. He discovered that the whispers were not just random sounds but appeared to be a form of communication. Fueled by curiosity and the urgent need to save his crew, he set to work deciphering the alien language. As the Peregrine moved further away from the whispering nebulae, the shadows seemed to lose some of their power, becoming less threatening and more elusive. But the sense of relief was short-lived. The shadows, though weakened, were still present, and the fear they generated persisted. With each passing hour, Dr. Simmons grew more engrossed in his research, finally managing to translate the eerie whispers. The messages were bone-chilling, speaking of an ancient evil force that had been awakened by the Peregrine's intrusion into the black horizon. Captain Voss knew that they had to find a way to confront this ancient evil and put an end to the terror that had consumed her ship. But how could they hope to combat an ancient and powerful force that seemed to thrive on fear itself? The answers, she hoped, lay somewhere within the vast expanse of space that stretched out before them, filled with unknown dangers and hidden secrets. The Peregrine's journey through the black horizon led the ship to Hyperion Station, an abandoned research facility that had been rumored to have a connection to the mysterious events occurring within the region. Captain Voss hoped that the secrets of the station might hold the key to combating the ancient force that haunted her crew. As the crew prepared to dock at Hyperion Station, they felt a chilling sense of foreboding that only intensified as they ventured inside. The station's corridors were dark and eerily quiet, with the only sound being the creaking of the old structure and the distant hum of the life support systems. As the crew explored the deserted facility, they discovered the remnants of experiments conducted by the previous inhabitants. The research logs told of a terrifying discovery: the existence of an interdimensional rift that seemed to connect their universe to another, where the ancient force resided. The scientists had attempted to harness the power of the rift to create a weapon capable of subduing the malevolent entity. However, their experiments had failed, and in the process, they had inadvertently unleashed the shadows that now plagued the Peregrine. Captain Voss and her crew realized they must find a way to seal the rift and banish the shadows back to their own realm. In a desperate bid to save her ship and crew, Captain Voss ordered the crew to search for any remaining data that might help them devise a plan. As they delved deeper into Hyperion Station, the crew began to experience the same chilling phenomena that had haunted them aboard the Peregrine. The shadows had followed them, hungry for the fear they generated. The crew's resolve was tested as they fought to maintain their sanity in the face of the ever-present darkness. The station's secrets were slowly revealed, and with each new discovery, they grew closer to understanding the true nature of the ancient force that threatened to consume them all. But time was running out, and the shadows grew stronger with each passing moment. Would the crew of the Peregrine be able to unlock the secrets of Hyperion Station and banish the darkness before it was too late? As the crew of the Peregrine continued to unravel the mysteries of Hyperion Station, They came across a hidden laboratory where the scientists had been studying the strange substance they referred to as dark matter. This enigmatic material appeared to be the key to understanding the shadows and their connection to the ancient force that haunted the black horizon. Dr. Simmons, who had become the leading expert on the mysterious whispers, deduced that the dark matter was not only a source of energy, but also a conduit for the shadows to enter their universe. The scientists had inadvertently opened a doorway to the other realm, and the shadows had been drawn to the fear of the living. Captain Voss knew they had to find a way to close the rift and sever the connection between the two realms. So she ordered her crew to study the dark matter in hopes of discovering a method to use its properties against the shadows. As the crew delved deeper into the secrets of the dark matter, they encountered ghostly apparitions that seemed to be the remnants of the scientists who had once inhabited Hyperion Station. These spectral figures were trapped in a state of eternal torment, their spirits bound to the station by the very force they had sought to control. The phantoms of Hyperion Station held vital information about the ancient force and the dark matter, but their messages were fragmented and distorted. The crew had to piece together the clues left behind by the tormented souls while fending off the ever-present shadows. With time running short, Captain Voss and her crew raced to unlock the secrets of the dark matter and the phantoms of Hyperion Station. They knew that if they failed, their fate would be the same as the spirits that haunted the abandoned facility, trapped forever in a realm of fear and darkness. As they neared the solution, the shadows grew more aggressive, sensing the threat to their existence. The crew of the Peregrine would have to face their deepest fears and confront the darkness that had consumed their lives. Would they find the strength and courage to stand against the ancient force and banish the shadows once and for all? The fate of their ship, their crew, and perhaps even their universe hung in the balance. With the knowledge they had gained from the phantoms of Hyperion Station, the crew of the Peregrine was finally ready to attempt to close the interdimensional rift. However, they soon discovered that the process would require a significant amount of time and energy, putting the ship and crew at risk of complete depletion. Captain Voss made the difficult decision to place most of her crew in cryo-sleep, a deep state of suspended animation that would conserve the ship's resources and enable the crew to withstand the long period needed to complete the procedure. Only a small dedicated team would remain awake to oversee the operation and ensure the safety of the ship and its sleeping occupants. As the crew members entered their cryopods, they were filled with a sense of trepidation, knowing that their dreams would be haunted by the very shadows they sought to banish. The dark matter's influence extended even into the realm of sleep, where the shadows could twist the crew's deepest fears into horrifying nightmares. The remaining crew members, including Captain Voss, Commander Rourke, and Dr. Simmons, worked tirelessly to harness the power of the dark matter and seal the rift. Meanwhile, the shadows intensified their efforts, manifesting within the nightmares of the sleeping crew and seeking to feed on their terror. Within the dreamscape, the crew members faced their worst fears, confronted by nightmarish visions that seemed all too real. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, and the crew struggled to hold on to their sanity as the shadows closed in. Back on the waking plane, the small team fought to maintain focus as they battled exhaustion and the ever-present darkness that haunted the corridors of the Peregrine. As they drew closer to completing the procedure, they felt the weight of their crewmates' nightmares bearing down on them, a constant reminder of the high stakes of their mission. The crew's fight against the ancient force had become a battle on two fronts: the physical realm, where they sought to seal the rift and banish the shadows, and the dream world, where their friends and comrades were locked in a desperate struggle for survival. Would the Peregrine's crew succeed in their mission, or would the shadows' grip on their nightmares prove too powerful to break? Time was running out, and the fate of the entire crew rested on the success of their daring plan. As the operation to close the interdimensional rift neared completion, the crew of the Peregrine stumbled upon a startling revelation. The ancient force that had haunted their journey was not merely an evil entity, but a cosmic being that had once been a massive star, transformed into a black hole by its own gravitational collapse. The black hole, consumed by the dark matter from the other realm, had become a tormented, twisted version of its former self. Its suffering had given birth to the shadows that preyed upon the fears of the living, and the whispered messages that had lured the Peregrine and its crew into the heart of the Black Horizon. Captain Voss realized that to truly banish the shadows and end the ancient force's reign of terror, they would have to find a way to free the black hole from its dark matter-induced torment. The crew set to work, devising a plan requiring precision, courage, and cooperation from the entity they sought to save. As the rift closing procedure reached its final stages, the crew initiated their plan to liberate the black hole. First, they used the ship's advanced technology to create a powerful gravitational pulse, carefully calibrated to separate the dark matter from the black hole without causing catastrophic damage to the fabric of space-time. The pulse rippled through the void, shaking the Peregrine to its core and jolting the cryo-sleeping crew members from their nightmares. The shadows, sensing the imminent threat to their existence, launched a desperate attack, attempting to overwhelm the crew and sabotage their efforts. Captain Voss, Commander Rourke, Dr. Simmons, and the newly awakened crew members stood their ground, refusing to succumb to the fear that the shadows sought to exploit. Instead, they rallied together, drawing strength from their shared determination to end the ancient force's reign of terror. As the gravitational pulse reached the black hole, the dark matter was violently expelled, freeing the cosmic being from its agonizing torment. The shadows, severed from their source, began to disintegrate, their terrifying forms dissolving into the void. The black hole, now a spectral echo of its former self, let out a haunting, mournful lament as it faded from existence. At that moment, the crew of the Peregrine felt a strange sense of kinship with the cosmic being, understanding the depths of its suffering and the burden of its existence. With the rift sealed and the shadows defeated, the crew had succeeded in their mission, but the memory of the black hole's lament would stay with them forever, a haunting reminder of the price they had paid to venture beyond the Black Horizon. In the aftermath of their victory over the ancient force, the crew of the Peregrine struggled to regain their sense of normalcy. The ship, once a haven of camaraderie and exploration, now felt like a haunted vessel, tainted by the shadows that had tormented them. Determined to leave the darkness of the Black Horizon behind them, Captain Voss ordered the ship to chart a course for the nearest inhabited star system. As they ventured further away from the void, the crew found solace in the familiarity of their daily routines and the comfort of their companionship. However, their respite was short-lived. As they approached the edge of the Black Horizon, the ship's communication systems began to pick up strange, distorted signals that seemed to emanate from the very edge of known space. The signals were unlike anything the crew had ever encountered, and they stirred a sense of unease that they had hoped to leave behind. Dr. Simmons, still haunted by his experience deciphering the whispered messages of the evil force, set to work analyzing the eerie signals. As he delved deeper into the strange transmissions, he began to uncover a pattern that hinted at a hidden intelligence lurking beyond the edge of the universe. Still reeling from their recent ordeal, the crew found themselves torn between curiosity and dread. Were these signals merely the remnants of some long-lost civilization, or did they herald the arrival of a new, unknown threat? Captain Voss, her spirit tempered by the trials of the Black Horizon, refused to let fear dictate their course. She ordered the crew to investigate the signals, determined to uncover the truth behind their origin, and face whatever new challenges lay ahead. As the Peregrine drew closer to the source of the eerie transmissions, the crew braced themselves for the unknown. The darkness of the Black Horizon may have been behind them, but their journey into the uncharted depths of space had only just begun. Would the Peregrine's crew find answers or new horrors waiting for them at the edge of the universe? Only time would tell, as they continued their pursuit of the truth, guided by the eerie signals from the edge. Following the eerie signals from the edge of the universe, the Peregrine stumbled upon a ghostly sight. The derelict remains of the starship SS Elysium, a vessel long thought to be lost in the Black Horizon. The ship appeared to be trapped in a state of limbo, suspended between life and death, its spectral crew wandering the abandoned corridors, seemingly unaware of their own demise. Captain Voss, driven by a sense of duty to the lost souls aboard the Elysium, ordered her crew to board the ghost ship, hoping to uncover the truth behind the vessel's mysterious fate and perhaps find a way to free the trapped spirits. The Peregrine's crew, armed with specialized equipment designed to detect and interact with spectral energy, boarded the Elysium with a mix of trepidation and determination. As they ventured deeper into the ship, they discovered that the Elysium's crew had been conducting secret research on the very edge of the known universe, attempting to harness the power of the strange signals they had been following. The further the Peregrine's crew delved into the Elysium's secrets, the more they began to unravel a tangled web of deception, ambition, and tragedy. Finally, it became apparent that the Elysium's crew had inadvertently unleashed a powerful force that had trapped their spirits within the ship, forcing them to relive their final moments in an endless loop. Determined to set things right, Captain Voss and her crew devised a plan to disrupt the energy field that held the spectral crew captive, allowing them to pass on to their final rest. However, they soon realized that the Elysium's fate was inexorably linked to the eerie signals they had been investigating. To free the trapped spirits, they would have to confront the unknown force that had lured both the Elysium and the Peregrine to the edge of the universe. The crew prepared themselves for another battle, knowing they might not survive their encounter with the mysterious force that lay beyond reality. As the Peregrine's crew set their plan in motion, they hoped that their actions would bring peace to the spectral crew of the SS Elysium, and perhaps provide a measure of redemption for their own haunted past. The stakes were high, but the crew of the Peregrine was no stranger to adversity. Together, they faced the unknown with unshakable resolve, ready to confront whatever awaited them in the darkness beyond the edge of the universe. Having discovered the tragic fate of the SS Elysium and its spectral crew, the Peregrine's crew braced themselves for their confrontation with the mysterious force that had drawn them to the edge of the universe. They knew that their success would not only free the trapped spirits, but also determine their own survival. As the Peregrine approached the source of the eerie signals, the crew began to experience increasingly bizarre and terrifying phenomena. The fabric of reality seemed to warp and fray around them, revealing glimpses of alternate dimensions and exposing them to unimaginable horrors. The crew, though shaken, pressed on, united by their determination to overcome the darkness. At last, they arrived at the heart of the cosmic abyss, a swirling vortex of energy that pulsed with the strange signals they had been following. The vortex, it seemed, was a gateway between dimensions, allowing the mysterious force to exert its influence over the universe. Captain Voss, Commander Rourke, and the rest of the crew set their plan into motion, using the knowledge they had gained from the Elysium's research to disrupt the energy field that held the spectral crew captive. Unfortunately, as they did so, they unknowingly unleashed the full power of the vortex, plunging the Peregrine into the depths of the cosmic abyss. The crew found themselves adrift in an alien realm, surrounded by the ghosts of the SS Elysium and countless other trapped spirits. It seemed that their desperate gamble had only succeeded in entangling them further in the clutches of the mysterious force. But the crew refused to give in to despair. They knew that the key to their escape and the salvation of the trapped spirits lay within their own strength, their bond as a team, and their unyielding determination to face the unknown. Together, they harnessed the power of the vortex, forging a path through the cosmic abyss and returning to their own universe. The trapped spirits of the Elysium and other lost souls were freed, finally able to pass on to their final rest, thanks to the heroic efforts of the Peregrine's crew. The battle against the darkness had been won, but the scars of their journey through the black horizon and the cosmic abyss would remain with them forever. As the Peregrine continued its journey through the stars, the crew knew that they had faced the unimaginable and emerged stronger for it, united by the bonds they had forged in the face of terror. With the trapped spirits freed and the vortex closed, the Peregrine's crew had emerged victorious from the cosmic abyss. Yet despite their success, a lingering sense of unease persisted. The eerie signals that had led them to the edge of the universe were still present, albeit diminished, like the ghostly echoes of a malevolent force. Dr. Simmons, intent on deciphering the remaining signals, worked tirelessly in the ship's laboratory, analyzing the frequencies and searching for any clues that might reveal the true nature of the force they had confronted. As he delved deeper into his research, he made a startling discovery. The signals were not merely the remnants of the vortex's power, but a separate entity altogether, a malevolent intelligence that had been manipulating events from the shadows. Captain Voss and Commander Rourke realized that they had only scratched the surface of a much larger conspiracy, one that stretched across the universe and threatened the very fabric of reality. The force they had encountered in the cosmic abyss was just one piece of a puzzle that spanned dimensions and transcended time itself. Determined to protect their universe from this insidious threat, the crew of the Peregrine set out to unravel the web of deceit and confront the evil intelligence that lay at the heart of the frightening frequency. Along the way, they encountered other ships and civilizations that had also been affected by the mysterious force, forging alliances and gathering crucial information in their quest for the truth. As they journeyed deeper into the unknown, the crew faced numerous challenges and perils, testing their resolve and the bonds they had forged during their harrowing experiences in the Black Horizon and the cosmic abyss. With each new revelation, the true scope of the threat became clearer and the stakes higher. It was not just their own survival that was at stake, but the fate of the entire universe. The Peregrine's crew knew that they stood on the brink of a battle unlike any they had ever faced before, a battle that would decide the fate of countless lives and the very fabric of reality itself. The Peregrine and its crew, having uncovered the true nature of the sinister intelligence behind the frightening frequency, now faced their greatest challenge yet. They had forged alliances with other affected civilizations and uncovered the vast conspiracy that spanned the universe, but the time had come to confront the darkness directly. Captain Voss and her allies devised a plan to strike at the heart of the evil intelligence, which would require them to venture into the treacherous Heliosphere, a region of space where the horrors of the cosmic abyss and the Black Horizon seemed to converge. It was here that the ancient force had been gathering its strength, waiting for the perfect moment to strike and consume the universe. As the Peregrine led a fleet of allied ships into the Heliosphere, they were met with unimaginable horrors, twisted, nightmarish creatures, and terrifying apparitions that sought to overwhelm and consume them. Nevertheless, the ships fought valiantly, using the knowledge they had gained from their previous encounters to combat the darkness. In the midst of the chaos, Captain Voss and her crew discovered a crucial weakness in the malevolent intelligence. It was vulnerable to the very energy it sought to consume. Armed with this knowledge, the crew of the Peregrine and their allies launched a desperate assault on the heart of the darkness. As they battled the horrors in the Heliosphere, the universe held its breath, waiting to see if the brave souls who had ventured into the unknown could stop the ancient force that threatened to unravel the fabric of reality. The Peregrine and its allies fought with every ounce of strength they had, pushing through the horrors and the darkness that surrounded them. And as the battle reached its climax, the combined power of the fleet struck a decisive blow against the malevolent intelligence, shattering its grip on the universe. The horrors in the Heliosphere dissipated, and the darkness that had threatened to consume the universe retreated, defeated by the unwavering courage and determination of those who had dared to stand against it. In the aftermath of the epic battle in the Heliosphere, the universe breathed a collective sigh of relief. Finally, the evil intelligence that had threatened to consume all of existence had been vanquished, thanks to the bravery and unity of the crew of the Peregrine and their allies. Captain Voss and her crew, now hailed as heroes across the cosmos, returned to the familiar corridors of their beloved starship. With the horrors of the Black Horizon, the cosmic abyss, and the Heliosphere behind them, they began the long journey home, their spirits lifted by their hard-won victory. As the Peregrine traveled through the stars, Dr. Simmons continued to study the remnants of the ancient force. seeking to understand its origins and motives. What he uncovered was both astonishing and chilling. The malevolent intelligence had once been part of a greater cosmic balance, a force that maintained the equilibrium between the light and the darkness in the universe. But over time, it had become twisted and corrupted, seeking to consume and dominate rather than maintain harmony. The crew of the Peregrine realized that their battle against the darkness was not just a struggle for survival, but a fight to preserve the delicate balance of the universe. And while they had defeated the malevolent intelligence, they knew that they must remain vigilant against other potential threats that could emerge and disrupt the cosmic balance. With newfound purpose, the Peregrine and her crew continued their mission to explore the far reaches of space, sharing their knowledge and experiences with others, and forging alliances to protect the universe from the darkness that threatened to consume it. As they journeyed through the stars, they faced new challenges and uncovered new mysteries, but they did so with the strength and unity forged by their harrowing experiences. The chilling truth they had unveiled had only served to reinforce their resolve and dedication to protecting the universe from the darkness that lurked in the vast expanse of space. And so the crew of the Peregrine ventured forth into the unknown, bound by the bonds of friendship and a shared purpose, determined to safeguard the delicate balance of the cosmos and ensure the survival of all that they held dear.